G'day guys, welcome back to the Iron Empire. I'm Mark Arnold, and in this episode I buy myself the cheapest set of aluminium cylinder heads to throw on this small block Chrysler V8. But don't click away just yet, because this is going to be relevant whether you've got a Ford, Chevy, Holden, you name it. We're going to put these Aeroflow heads to the test before we put them anywhere near that motor, and we're going to do it at Bullet Race Engineering. So let's head down there, see if these things are any good before we start making some horsepower. Now this morning we are on our way down to Bullet Race Engineering in Greenfield, South Australia, where we are going to be having a look at these Aeroflow cylinder heads before we start assembly. We are going to measure up the spring heights, make sure we can get the right tension with the correct shims that I order. This is all stuff that I have very little idea about and could have quite easily overseen all this stuff, so I'm getting some guidance from the pros. And before we start anything, we're going to do a hardness test on these heads. Although they're brand new, it's better to be safe than sorry. So let's go see the boys down there and yeah, get these heads sorted so I can start assembly. Okay, so we're here at Bullet Race Engineering in the head assembly room, and we're going to basically go through what's involved in setting these springs. So you can't just bang them in and go to town, because the spring rate won't be correct, or may not be correct, and you'll bury that into the aluminium. And I didn't realise that, being a non-engine guru, very easy to oversee that. So this is Marcus. He's going to help us see the whole overview on how to do this, and yeah, then we can start ordering some parts and moving forward with the project.
All right, no worries. So we're going to work out an installed height.
Yes.
And then that'll determine the spring pressure of those springs. And from your cam specs, make sure that it's correct.
So when this is once again, I'm not as in-depth knowledge as a lot of people probably are. A lot of people are on the same boat as me. So the cam's going to specify what pressure that the spring is required at certain lift, as in.
Yeah, so you have a solid roller cam, hydraulic roller cam, then you got flat tappet. Flat tappet solid, flat tappet hydraulic. I often vary the spring pressure depending on which cam. And then also take into consideration application, what you're doing with it, how much RPM, and stuff like that. So
your cam will usually come with a card that has details that we've got to follow? Right. So this I know came with, I think that would come with my cam, so I'm not sure if that's going to be anything of what you need through there. If not,
so that's a list of the spring part numbers, and then their recommended installed height and their installed pressure, and how much pressure at 500th hour lift, and so that's all valuable information. Okay. So we can go off of that, and just with my experience, I'll know what you need. You can pretty well just tell me the cam that you're running, and
I'll Google that.
I'll know.
So I'm running Crow Cam. They've been really good helping me through the choice. It's basically it's pretty mild cam, but it's going to give us a bit of nice idle. It's going to obviously be a bit of performance on a stock one, and I'll Google that. I'll put the cam specs on the part number on the screen, because I don't remember them, and we'll go from there.
So you got the cam from Crow, and they supplied the springs.
Yes.
Okay. So based off of this, I assume it's a flat tappet hydraulic cam.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the kind of spring I would use.
Right.
And recommend myself. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. That's a good start.
No worries. All right. So let's start by putting the valves in this head. Obviously, you do this once all your seats and have been cut, and you're at the point where you're ready to basically assemble the head, and then we'll put the valves in there. We'll pick the appropriate little tool. I've got this little spring tool which goes in here. I've got a variety of sizes for smaller stuff and smaller retainers. And
basically, that's a little measuring tool.
Never end. There's a little overhead cam for all the little JDM stuff.
So this is a tool that basically goes in place of your spring to measure what we're trying to measure.
Yeah. The other thing I often tell people that like to supply the parts, you bring your springs, you bring your retainer and the head, but let me supply the locks.
Right.
Because there's a variety of locks. So like here you got your standard height, your plus 50, and then you got also minus 50, which I don't have here. And that can move the retainer up and down. Right. Down 50 thou or up 50 and then up another 50. So it gives you a window to get that pressure right. Because like you said, so you can't put this spring straight on aluminium. And a lot of people don't know this, but this is a dampener, which is inside the spring, and it helps to keep the spring nice and steady, not wobble, 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 under extreme RPM when you're doing a crazy burnout when you shouldn't be.
That clutch.
But what happens here is you feel that. That's like a knife.
Yeah.
And it is, like I'll often take these out and I'll round them off.
Righto.
So it's not that sharp, because you got that sharpness digging into the aluminium and going up and down.
Yeah.
Just basically cutting that sort of thickness into the aluminium, and it just tears it up.
Like butter.
So that's why you have to run a hardened locator or hardened shim.
Right. Yeah. That's what led me to come here, is because I'm a basic kind of guy. I've never had aluminium heads before, and everything I've disassembled, I've never seen that sort of stuff before, and it wasn't until I started assembling these parts together I realised.
And a lot of guys will just chuck this in, and that's fine, but that's, I suppose, just something I do. I'll just pull every single one out and I'll go on the linisher and I'll just round that edge off, and then wire wheel it so there's no swarf, and it's just sometimes extra for just assurance.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
And
that's finishing off the job.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, it's a bit of time, but that's free. So if you can, a few little.
Not for me, I charge.
But fair point.
You know, it'd take me half an hour. You know, I've got to pull them all apart.
But what's the alternative?
Then put them all back and wash it.
If you have an issue, that half an hour is well spent before things go wrong.
Well, if you valve float this and over rev it constantly, that'll even cut into the hardened shim.
Yeah, right. We got issues?
That doesn't look right. Is this 7 degree? And that'll give me a reading 1.910, which seems high for this. And I can see by what's going on here that this is not correct. So we've got an issue here. And looking at this, I reckon the issue is, so this is a trap that often happens to everyone. So you buy these retainers, those springs come with these locks, and these locks are to suit a normal Chrysler, which is a 3/8 stem valve. And now, so 3/8 meaning the diameter of the valve stem, which is 371 thou. But these are aftermarket heads, and how I would expect an aftermarket head to come is with a narrower, thinner stem valve, lighter, nicer, more modern, which this has. Doesn't suit these locks. Now, and we knew that, so I got these locks out, which I knew would suit the valve, but they don't suit the retainer, because this is to suit the bigger diameter valve.
That's why it's
this happens all the time. Guys buy the stuff, and that's fine, and they bring it in here, and it doesn't work out.
And this is what gives people like, oh, you bought parts from eBay. It's what gives it a bad name, because people more than likely don't know what they're ordering. And admittedly, I ordered these parts before I decided to go down the aluminium head route. So Crocam thought I was still running factory heads. So no blame on them. This is on me.
But it's just a simple little trap, because this retainer is to suit, so it's slightly bigger diameter on the
I can see how much they just fall down the hole.
Yeah, you can see that it just fell, and the retainer's nearly flush with the top of the tip of the valve, which is going to be devastating for your roller, because then it's probably going to touch. You often see the rocker touching the side of the retainer. That can happen here. So what we got to do is we got to get different retainers.
Right.
So we've got to get retainers to suit 1132. So I've got plenty in stock. Well, to finish this exercise.
Lucky we were at a highly equipped machine shop.
So let's just take a Comp Cams retainer here. There's another catch out because this is a 10 degree where that's 7 degree. So I've got some 10 degree locks here.
Here I was thinking I was going to throw these heads on the car. Dreaming.
Yes. See how much better that looks
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
away? So straight away by eyes I can see, okay, we're getting somewhere now. This is a better deal. So I'll look around here, and if you can see on the gauge here, which we won't be able to see on the screen, you're just going to have to trust us.
Believe
people.
this.
We've got 1.855. You have a look there.
I'm
See
so
there?
bad at reading these measurements.
It's a bit like a vernier tool.
Yeah.
1.855, and then I can set my verniers. One thing you always got to do is check, make sure there's zero them out.
No.
All right, so I'll put this to the reading I got there. I'll just use this retainer for this exercise. I'll put it in my spring tool here.
I might just come over to that one.
Come over, get close-up action. Don't take a close-up on my face,
Extreme close-up.
please. Extreme close-up! Whoa! Whoa! And we look here, and we've got about, can you see on there? On the dial, we're looking at about nearly 75 pounds on the seat.
Yep.
Which is too low.
Right.
So now the option we have here is we can, well, I still have to put a shim on it, so we'll put the shim and see what that brings us up to. Or the other option is we might have to put a shim and put a lower lock on it. So we lower that retainer.
Yeah.
And then that'll give us probably a better...
Right. So you simply pull that tool down to the height of that, which replicates...
Yeah, so I've got to replicate what's going on here.
Righto.
Yeah. So I'm going to get a locator. Here's one that I had previously ready, yeah, which I knew would fit, and that fits on there nice. That's a nice snug fit. Love locators because they locate on the guide,
Yeah.
on the ID or the OD. You can cut the head either way, so this locates nice. So it doesn't move around. It's nice and firm. That way that'll protect the seal as well, especially with a double valve spring or a triple valve spring where the seal to the inner spring is so tight and clearance is minimal. You don't want that spring moving around.
Okay.
And if you are, revving it to 7,000, the spring's going up and down
Easily.
ridiculous amount of times a minute.
Yep.
It can wobble, move around, and so it's nice to have it to locate. In this case, you'll find, because this is a sort of reasonably large diameter spring, with no inner spring, it's just got the dampener.
Right.
So I'll put that on there, go back to our tool.
This is where I need like 6 cameras and a cameraman
And now that's increased the pressure, if you can see there.
Yep.
So now we're back up to 90.
Right.
So we're getting pretty close. Now if I put a 50 thou lower lock, that's going to give me 1.805. 1.805. Got the locator in there. Bring the tool back down. And now we're at 110.
Right. Far out, makes a big difference.
And there you go. And now I'm pretty confident to install that at 110.
Yeah, okay.
I think with your cam, I'd like to have a look at the specs, just see what RPM we're going to go to, but I reckon 110 to 115 is a pretty comfortable pressure. I'd like
so that figure you just gave us is based purely on experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what your cam
We'll have a look,
says or what Crow recommend. You could give yours a lot of flat tappets, if I know they're going to be pretty hard on them and a lot of RPM and a bit of strip work and some racing.
Yeah.
I'll probably go more 120, 130 pounds
Yeah,
on the seat, and then check open pressure as well.
Yeah.
Which we could do with this on yours. The only problem there is, a lot of people may know this, is then you got to look at running in the cam.
I was worried about that, yeah.
And an overload of pressure. See, at 110, no worries. I would install them. You can run it in. You're safe.
Okay.
Once you get up to 130, that tends to be a double spring.
Yeah.
I take the inner out and I install just the outers and the dampeners, run it in, then take all the rockers off and put all the inner springs in and continue, which is a real pain in the ass.
Starts to add up, but that's the route you're taking when you start talking performance mode.
Yeah, well then you have to run it in and then take rockers off and
all the fun stuff.
Take springs off individually per cylinder and put all, so it's a lot of work. But you don't need to do that. So that'll be perfect. I'll be comfortable, put that locator in, which is 60 thou.
Righto.
That's 60 thou thick, run a 50 thou lower lot, which is really good for you because then that lowers a retainer and moves it away from the rocker.
Yeah, okay.
It gives you extra clearance. It's always annoying when you got to go plus 50.
Yeah, okay.
You bring the retainer up, which only brings it closer to the rockers.
Yeah, you're really close to the top of that tip.
Yeah, because we're going bigger diameter and then the rockers like this, and
yeah, right.
You don't have the luxury of moving your rockers on this head.
Righto.
Yeah, what else do we want to cover?
That was, it's actually quicker and simpler than I thought it was going to be, but I'm still equally as mind-boggled. So, but I can watch it as many times as I want, but it's super interesting. But I think that one of the key parts to this is that it's so much more involved than most people realise. Most people think their mate's done it so we can do it. It's like, your mate might have got away with it, but not everyone's going to get away with it.
Wow. No, that's right. I mean, at the moment here, we build probably just over an engine a week at the moment.
Yeah.
And one thing I do like to say to customers, because a lot of them want to get their own parts, and I'm fine with that. I can supply parts, they can get their own.
Yeah.
But I often tell them, don't get the valve springs.
Yeah.
Let me get the springs, retainers, locks, because then I got all this here. I've got so many retainers, so many locks. I can dummy it up.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll just go on the catalogue and bang, I know what I need.
Perfect.
And because it saves time, because now, here mate, you got to send them back.
Yeah, I know. I got to ring up
You
Crow.
got to swap them. You got to swap these.
That's all
so,
right.
which is fine if you're not in a rush, no big deal. But you got to pack it up, freight it back.
Yeah.
You've opened it. It's just, and then it's not a big expense. Retainers, locks, springs.
Yeah.
I prefer to supply that side of it.
And in this case, I'm lucky because once again I've been dealing with Crow. They've been really good. Once again, that's on me. They thought I was running cast iron head still, but if and I will have no issue with sending this back. But when you're buying stuff through like eBay or Temu, you're not sending parts back. You just especially
but Crow's fine.
You're gonna have issues.
And then what we can do, we can look up on the website because I'm sure they'll have the retainer part numbers with the sizes and the variation in heights maybe listed there.
Yeah,
we can
awesome.
modify it from that.
Sweet as. Okay, so we've actually already done this next part before, but we're going to show you guys how we test for hardness. Is that what it's called?
Hardness test, yes.
Hardness test. So explain why you would hardness test more so a used like a existing motor, and then why you'd test this anyway.
Most of the time we're testing second-hand heads that we're doing up before I spend hours and hours of work on it.
Yep.
Like to make sure they're not too soft because you just don't know when it's been overheated.
Yep.
Or they may have been welded or something.
So it's the heat that's going to basically deteriorate the strength of the head. Yeah,
overheating.
Exhaust around the ports?
Often, exhaust you'll find it always might be a bit softer around the exhaust ports.
Yep.
And it'll be often harder everywhere else.
Right.
Just check it just before spend all this time.
Well, you're going to spend that time and...
Your case is different. It's a new head, but let's just test it, mate. I've had soft new heads.
I've heard that, and that's why I wanted to test it. And we all know Aeroflow is a budget entry level. They're not shying away from that. This is an entry level head for affordable for someone like me. So I wanted to test it and give it the tick or the
scrap bin.
Or the scrap.
So there's a tester I got here, a digital hardness tester. This is a little calibration plate. And now, so let's turn this on. And this has got all different settings off because we grind cranks here And,
Yeah, okay.
And so often repair cranks have been damaged, so
Yep.
you know, we weld them and then hardness test them, and or you light diesel.
Yeah, okay.
Cranks have to be hardness tested first before you can start. You've got all your settings here. You've got, you know, you can do all sorts of steel and cast iron and aluminium,
Yep.
billet or cast. So you've got your different materials here. You can see there, cast aluminium.
Right.
So material. And I often got a chart here for the boys so they don't get mixed up. So you got hardness testing for cranks, which is measured in Rockwell, and then with the cylinder heads, we check them in Brunel.
Yeah, okay.
And there's some readings that you expect to see. You know, like a lot of heads, I want to see above 90.
And it seems
Love
like
to see
there's
them in the
some
hundreds.
pretty commonly seen stuff here. We've got RB stuff, we've got a lot of LS stuff. So if you've had an engine that has had some, you know, you're rebuilding it for whatever reason, or you've overheated something and it's apart, pays to do this.
Pick a nice flat surface. Yeah, you can see there. You want to hold that so you can see
Sure.
it. So we've got 102 there.
102.
And we go to another section.
102.
102. So let's flip it over. Check somewhere on the deck.
104.
104, and then that'll give you an average of the three readings
yeah.
that we just did, which is
102.
102. Well, it looks like you can use your head.
110.
It's a good spot.
More power in that one. 107. So yeah. So
And you do, yeah. They will vary a little bit.
Yep. 105.
But they should be, and that's pretty good. That's
yeah. Okay.
within 5, so that's pretty
So
good cylinder.
what number would that have to hit before you got concerned?
Anything in the 80s.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything below 90, I would tell you that you got unlucky and put them in the scrap bin.
Sweet.
Or send them back.
Send them back. I'm sure that'd help us out. But there you go. So far, the Aeroflow heads are going to be
Good to go.
good to go, and a hell of a lot better than those 1972 factory 318 heads.
Absolutely.
Cast ain't fast, apparently.
No, cast is all right. We do a lot of cast stuff. So, no, nothing wrong with cast. That's just the motto for the billet stuff.
No, I'm hearing you. Yeah, and speaking of billet stuff, we're going to have a bit of a walk around now. And
Did you get permission?
we don't need permission.
Don't need permission.
We're just going to sneak around, have a quick look at what the boys do down here.
All right, we'll go for a look. Just make sure we don't get seen by anyone.
All right, so now we're done with the head work. Marcus is going to give us a quick tour of the workshop here and basically show you what these guys do. They do everything from mild to wild. I initially thought that they done only like elite high-end race stuff, billet blocks, insane stuff, but there's also some general machine work, the whole shoot and muzzle. So yeah, what have you guys been doing
No, we
around
do
here?
it all. We even do some light diesel stuff and
Yeah, okay.
standard stuff. And,
Yep.
most of the stuff is high performance.
Yep.
We do it all. We do everything.
Right.
See hone there? That's the only Sun and CNC hone in Australia, I think.
Yeah, okay. So
it's-
that's
it's not your conventional old style hone where that pivots on the system that's got the upright.
Yep.
Yeah, so we hone in here to finish the bores for the rings.
Yeah, right.
We've got 2 boring bars there. These 2 machines pretty well do your boring,
Yep.
picking, fire ring, O-ring machining. 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder V8s. So we've got 2 of them. Keep the boys busy.
Looks like some precision work coming out of that.
With some staff, bludging, walking around, telling stories. They're good at that. And then we come over here, we've got the office upstairs, all the CAD and CAMs done up there, and then we've got mill here for the cylinder head facing.
Yep.
We even do blocks on there. We've got the 30 seat cutter. We also got the new one seat cutter, which is more your high performance type seats with all the multi-angles. You actually program them in there as opposed to the 30 uses tips that are pre-done. So all the angles are ground on the tips.
Yeah, right.
Whereas this are done on the computer screen. So you've got the luxury of changing angles very slightly.
Yep.
So you can cut 4 different angles
Yeah, right.
on 4 different cylinders. Then I go on the flow bench and flow each cylinder and
Yeah, okay.
tell me what angles work best. Different heads. You've got your pressure testing here. Obviously we do welding as well. Got a bit of rust repair there. Got another mill here. Just a little one for little odd jobs. This head had all cracked bolt holes where the rockers bolt down.
Right.
From a catastrophic failure. So I had to weld it all up and re-drill and helicore. We've got valve facer. I've got about 3 valve facers here.
Yeah, right.
If you had a look, there was a valve facer in the cylinder head room, just for the heads when we tip valves and
so it looks like
convert JDM stuff to shimless and stuff
right.
like that.
So it seems that pretty much very in-house. It looks like there's not much here.
Yeah, pretty much everything in-house. There's a bit of a dirty room where there's hand porting in there, guide bench work all here, bringing guides in and out, honing, stuff like that, synchro stones for some of the old school stuff. And then we got our lathe and got a brand new balancer, CWT Industries, latest.
Wow.
We do like to upgrade our equipment constantly.
Yep.
Try and keep the equipment, like state of the art. So this is the latest. This is brand new. It's only a couple of months old.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so pretty happy with this at the moment.
So
Boys are still getting their head around using the new machine.
So when you start to turn RPM, you're not going to vibrate your motor to bits because your thing's bang on.
Yeah, like that. And the rod resizer over there. And we've got the crank grinder.
Far out.
So often, we'll do the main tunnel and rods, and then we'll put the bearings in there, measure, and then we'll grind the crank to get the perfect clearance.
Yeah, right. Far out.
Flywheel facer over there. The TIG room over there. That's just all the aluminium welding. That room there, there's not really much to look at in there. And then we move into this space. This is Sarah. Say hello, Sarah. Here we are making what looks like a 2J drag race.
Yeah, right.
Is that a 2J drag race? I was right, look at that.
There you go.
So I know what I'm doing. There's a lot of swarf there.
That is a lot of swarf.
Yeah, have a look. So that starts off like this. Well, that's an RB. That's the cradle, like the main cap system. Where the main cap's for Hondas. So it goes in there and then comes out somewhat looking like a block. I'll put an upright on there. That's what we do the ends. So once we do the block and do the cradle, then we bolt them together. Then we put them in there, and then it does all the ends, like the bell housing bolts and the dowels and the rear main seal housing area and stuff like that. Well, you can see there, the block's done, cradle's done, main caps are on. But now we've got to get it in there and do the ends, bell housing, timing cover end.
Yep.
Down here we've got Old Faithful DMG, hard to see in there, but that's porting a 4G 63 cylinder head at the moment.
Right.
Got some LS heads to pour.
Alright.
That's about it. It's very loud in here.
It is loud in here.
Yeah. Well, that's why we built the room, for the noise.
Yeah, right.
It just used to resonate through the workshop.
Alright, so that's the big dollar room. That's probably the last time I ever go into that one.
Yeah.
But
well, that room there is not bad too. That's all the CAD and CAM.
yeah, okay.
So all the blocks, all the heads, all the billet parts we make, we design
Yeah, right.
up there. So all CAD and CAM, all in-house.
Yeah, wow.
A lot of guys come here
Big
and want us to make something. So
Yep.
we design it up there. And
So basically, if it doesn't exist, you guys will make it. Yeah,
we can, yeah.
that's unreal. Sweet. Alright. I'll go back to my...
We just need a billet block for your Chrysler.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Not my honed with a drill and a dingle ball to get this thing back on the road, but
you just got to bring a bigger wallet.
maybe one day. Yeah, exactly. All right, well that's the tour for now. So hope you guys learned something. Thanks for the tour, Marcus. And
no worries, thank you.
Yeah, we'll start ordering up some correct parts and then see if we can move on with this build. So for those of you who want to support the channel, we still have some stock of our latest design, probably my favorite, the new lightning bolt design on the front, and we got the piston design on the rear. That's a brand newie. Selling quite a few of these. You guys seem to like them, and one of my favorites actually. So what's your favorite that you've liked over the years? A lot of people are enjoying the hearse. We might do a rerun of those soon, but for those who want to support the channel, jump into the online store, pick up some merch, or you can just like the video, comment, subscribe. That's all free stuff as well, and also goes a real long way. Anyway, let's get back into these heads. Okay, so we're back in the shed now. Obviously, we've been down to Bullet and gone over the Aeroflow heads. I'm really happy with what we come up with there. I've since ordered the parts the correct parts from Crow Cams. Quick shout out to Crow Cams. They have been absolutely awesome to deal with. I can't recommend them enough. If you ring them, you'll get a human being on the phone, and they'll talk you through anything, help you with picking the right camshaft, lots of stuff. In this case, obviously halfway through the project, we've swapped from these cast iron factory heads to aluminium heads. I've now got the right parts on the way over. Also, thanks to Marcus and the team down there at Bullet for letting me come in, showing us how to check everything we need to check before we start assembling these heads. Now, one last thing I wanted to do before I start moving forward with the project, which I'm hanging to do, I'm sure you guys would like to see the progress, is we're going to compare these Aeroflow heads to the factory cast iron heads. Now, I haven't actually done this yet. I've had these things wrapped up, and I didn't want to unwrap them because I was sort of trying to keep them clean, and not clean. I actually haven't cleaned them. They're filthy, but I wanted to get rid of these things anyway. Someone may want them, but I'm going to have a look at the gains you're going to get just visually from these heads in comparison to some factory heads. Now, bearing in mind, these are the cheapest aluminium cylinder heads I could find. I can't recall the figures on what they were worth. I'll put that on the screen right now once I find that out. But basically, I priced up doing up a set of cast iron heads, and by the time you recondition them and valve grind and all that rest of it, and then do a little bit of porting and stuff, you're going to be up for probably $1,500 anyway. And how good is it going to be? Not as good as these things. All right, so straight off the bat, we can see the ports are pretty much ginormous. These are the exhaust ports. I would say, at a guess, they're probably 25% bigger. They have really pushed these things. They've really made the most of the room they've got to work with to stretch these things right out. So the exhaust port side is already bigger, and let's not even mention the bloody weight is insane. Let's flip these over. Dude. Dirty old heads. Now the intake ports, this is on a whole nother level. Now what I need to do to show you exactly how much bigger this is, I'm going to throw the gaskets on. It is huge. So here's one of the exhaust gaskets. You can see the port sizes right here. Line this up, and you're pretty much bang on in regard to port size for size on the new head. Put this on the old head, and it is insane. Like we're talking like top to bottom. It's like 8mm, and side to side we're probably talking far out 6mm. That's a huge difference. So the flow you're going to get out of these heads, just visually you can see, is going to be ginormous. But we won't know exactly what sort of flow difference, because I'm not going to flow them, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. Right, so I've just found two other key components to these heads that are absolutely critical that I totally forgot about. First of all, the combustion chamber in these heads These is what you'd probably call an open chamber head. As you can see right here, it opens up. So these heads are going to be pretty low compression. The motors were pretty much low compression anyway, but the combustion chamber on the aftermarket heads, you can see they've really closed it in right around those ports they've really closed it in right around those valve seats to try and, you know, minimize the combustion chamber. I don't know the CCs. I can probably Google it. I'll do my best to do that before this video goes out. I don't know the CCs on these heads, but you can tell just visually that this is going to be a way more higher compression head, which is obviously going to be adding to your horsepower as well. Secondly, the valve size. Now, the valves on these are little babies. Once again, I don't know off the top of my head what the valve size is. I'll put it on the screen right now. But the valve size from factory, not too impressive. The valves on these aftermarket heads straight off the bat, a hell of a lot bigger. Obviously, the bigger the valves, the more flow, the more air in and out, and all of that good stuff that makes horsepower happen. So just the more I look into these things, the better and better they become. Having said that, obviously we know these are absolute budget, but you couldn't, the amount of money I've spent on these, you could not get the gains out of those heads no matter what you did. It's just impossible. So obviously they serve a purpose. Everything serves a purpose, but for this one, how far are we into this motor? I wanted to have some fun. So here we are. Okay, guys, that is it for this episode. Now, I know it was a lot of talking, but I hope it was plenty of information. I learned a hell of a lot in this episode. A massive thank you to Bullet Race Engineering and also Aeroflow, because these heads are going to be an amazing budget option, and I can't wait to see the gains we're going to get out of this motor. This was just a lazy old 318, and now we're going to add a bit of performance. So one last thing, guys, this happened just this afternoon. We have some brand new t-shirts as promised. I'm going to try and be really productive this year with my merch. I've got a new little Iron Empire mascot. There he is. And on the back, this has got to be the most relevant t-shirt, I'm sure, for you handy blokes out there. It's on the back. Don't call me. Mine's broken too. For those who are always getting called on to help with someone's car or someone's house, or someone fucking broke the front gate, whatever. This is the story of my life. Obviously, I'm taking the piss. We're always here to help, but I thought that was super relevant, and I wanted to keep it old school. We've got the retro feel little mascot because that's at the end of the day, we're working on retro cars, so why not keep it old school? We need to name this guy. Hit me up in the comments below. What should we name the new Iron Empire mascot? I can't wait. I actually love this thing. So that's going to be it this time around, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the online store. Pick up the new mascot t-shirt, and we'll see you on an upcoming episode. Cheers, guys.